Finishes firmly on the home side. Good work at the breakdown. This is great stuff. This keep dropping for the line. And no score.
It's midway through the Premier Interschools season of 2018, and we're down at the Marcotta Sports Complex in Stellenbosch. Paarl Roos Gymnasium up against Paarl Boys High, a mouth-watering encounter in a wonderful part of the world. Paarl Roos Gymnasium, named after the Springbok captain of 1906, who was a teacher at the time and later became a headmaster of the school. The second oldest town in South Africa, and this team has already close to 600 points in 9 games that they've played. They've won every single one of them and less than 100 against them. So this is a crackerjack team that's playing against South Africa's former #1 school for the last couple of years, Paarl Boys High, who graduate as well from a wonderful town with the longest main street in the southern hemisphere. Of course, the boys are out here, the Paarl Roos boys as well as those from Paarl Boys High. It's very muggy here in Stellenbosch. The weather is a little Durbanish, but there's no wind and a wonderful, fabulous playing surface at the Marcotta Stadium. Paarl Boys High, captained by Adrian Alberts, who will be the only Craven Week player on the field in both teams, and also a survivor from last year, along with 4 other players that played in the corresponding fixture. Trent Sivertson and Nathan Besaidnout are a useful pair at centre 3/4. And Paarl Roos Gymnasium, captained once again by JJ Kotze. 7 players that have come back, and a lot of graduates here of that wonderful under-16 team of 2 years ago. Again at centre, Brendan Venter, son of Springbok, former Springbok, and Regan van der Westhuizen will pose a real threat too in this team. As is traditional at the Marcotta, the boys line up to bring the players out, and it's always, of course, the away team that runs out first, and that is Paarl Boys High and Adrian Alberts. A big boy who will be locking the scrum with Emil van Heerden, son of former Western Province and Springbok lock forward Fritz van Heerden. And have a look at those results then. Paarl Boys High, they lost for the first time in 43 encounters against Grey College in South African local schools rugby, but also got beaten by the Jaguares from Argentina in the World Schools Festival a couple of weeks ago. JJ Kotze, a young man that really does lead from the front too. And of course, being a home game, can they keep their unbeaten record? That's the key. Gareth Wright is alongside me as we have a look at those results, Gareth, and I think it is a big tussle which could go either way.
Absolutely, Gav. A mouth-watering clash, as you mentioned, and Paarl Roos haven't won this encounter in 3 years. They'll want to set the record straight, and they've had a stellar season to boot, but they face formidable opponents in Paarl Boys, who will be G'd up for this fixture. Look out for number 7, Evan Roos, who's a big ball-carrying loose forward, and he will front up against Herman Hines, who has surprised friend and foe this year. The diminutive number 7 for Paarl Roos has really stuck his hand up, so it will be a clash of the Titans, one could bill it as, and I'm looking forward to a really crackerjack game.
When you talk about Titans too, it's actually currently the #1 school in rugby school in South Africa, Paarl Roos, up against the #4 in South Africa in Paarl Boys High. So Paarl Roos then with Johan Mostert with the kickoff. In fact, the kickoff from Carl Voliter it was.
Hold, move!
So Boys High getting their hands on the ball early on in the game. Estienne van Rensburg at scrum half. Carried up there by Adrian Alberts. Van Rensburg. Big Rubo at best, 125 kilograms at tight head for Paarl Boys High, a big boy.
Release them, Red!
Now Van Rensburg quickly through the hands from Reece du Plessis. This encounter will be very physical, there's no doubt about it. Everybody I spoke to prior to this game doesn't want to pick a winner. Again, it's Alberts with the carry. but he's brought back with some solid defensive work there, especially from Mink Sherink. Oh, the kick downfield over the head of Paarl Voliter. So outside of the 22, it's gone straight down to Roos du Plessis. Now this young man has got lightning speed. A little bit like his father, Paarl. You might remember as a left wing for South Africa. Van Rensburg.
Yeah, I've got you. Yeah.
Short little dummy there from Lowenhorn. With lots of ball coming the way of Paarl Boys High. From Rensburg. Again, it's Horn looking for the carry, but I think
Backwards.
there's been a knock. No, it went backwards.
Leave it now!
Our referee, Rasta Rashivenga. Well, if Remy Engelbrecht had held on to that, he would have been home Jerome.
Well, what a start by Paarl Boys, setting up the phases. Evan Roos has been ever prominent, and the floated pass nearly found its way into the hands of a willing recipient in Engelbrecht.
We need
However,
stability, please, before the
it
ball
is
goes
still
in.
possession to
Stability.
Paarl Boys now. Will they be looking to spread this Paarl Roos side east and west, tire them out, because it's a massive pack, especially in that front row for the Maroon Machine. Andrew Jacobs tipping the scales just short of Bester at 120 kilograms.
That's a strong scrum that from Paarl Roos. Estienne van Rensburg caught in possession.
That's a tackle now!
And again, some rucking, but somehow Paarl Boys have managed to hold on to it. Here comes Callum van der Merwe, son of former Western Province centre Cobus van der Merwe. Upfield from Kian Meaden. Just gone a little bit too far. Here's Remy Engelbrecht. He has got real pace too. There's some very quick men playing in this fixture today. So Gareth Wright spoke about stretching east and west. Both teams have the ability in space to score some really good tries. Carry from Robbie Rogers. Now Zander Buerta waiting for it at scrum half. And Andrew Jacobs taking it in. He scored a hat-trick last week against Bishops. It's not often that you see a tight head prop scoring 3 tries in a match. Lovely little break this from Buerta. So Paarl was able to get their hands on some possession at the moment. The battle is being fought very, very close in. And of course, these phases, Gareth Wright, just seem to continue and continue. Both teams willing to carry the ball. Paarl Roos now looking for a softening up process up front amongst the forwards.
Last feet, Jack, last feet. Move forward, move.
Now Buerta can he ignite his backs. Morstead standing off as well, but this is Brendan Venter. Of course, Matthew Cordy at number 8 for Paarl Roos is also a very destructive runner with a ball. Slowly they edge their way into the 22, onto Herman Hines. And this time JJ Kotze a little bit upright, but he's managed to get himself into a position there where the ball continues to be fed to these giant forwards. Can they find a way through here somewhere? Venter. Morstead just going infield initially. Well, I'll tell you what, they're going to be some very tired young men at the end of this match if this continues. Now, can somebody get over that line? There they do. It's simple as that. It's Tian Pretorius.
Gee whiz, what a passage of play by Paarl Roos. Subdue and penetrate through the pack, and Tian Pretorius is the man who'll be accredited with the 5-pointer. But you can mark that down to the work of the forwards. They just batted away close to the line. Wonderful hands by Brendan Venter. The swift pass through to Pretorius, and Paarl Roos have drawn first blood, but an ominous sign for those in blue and white as that pack began to operate. Now this young fellow in shot has had a wonderful season off the tee. Cade Voluta, grade 11. Reminds me of Patrick Lambie in his kicking style. Metronomic, solid strike. He has been outstanding. Last week, 7 from 8 against Bishops. And can he continue this rich vein of form for kicking for goal? You wouldn't bet against him.
Really tough effort this from the touchline. Oh, he's given it a good strike. And it's straight enough. Great conversion there from Voluta.
Well, through the hands, and look at the work from Fenta to Pretorius. Just too much for Paarl boys to contend with on the blind side. And Cullen van der Merwe was too late in his effort to stop Pretorius's 5-pointer.
So Kian Meaden with a kick in. Lots of work for this Paarl boys high pack of forwards. And importantly as well to get their hands on possession. Carry from Mink Shorink. Well, the game started, of course, with the ball really very much in the grasp of Paarl boys high, but at the moment it's Paul Roos now who are doing most of the carrying. And it's carrying it is too. There's been very few kicks from either side in this match. Paarl boys high were offside, so there's some relief opportunity.
Well, Gavin, their tactic is clear. They're going to go through the middle with those massive tight forwards of theirs, Paul Roos, and look to soften up this Paarl boys side and then unleash their backs as we see Mostert carving off a good 30+ meters. Just infringing offside was Van Heerden, and hence the penalty going the way of the home side.
We're playing on, we're playing on, play on.
Well, I think there's going to be a change here. It looks like one of the Paarl boys high guys went down quite heavily, so the replacement's already onto the field. That's a knock on. The replacement who's come on is Dandre Lejeunard. We'll pick that up now.
Let's go.
Well, the other throw from JJ Kotze just didn't go to hand for Paarl boys. And after that flurry in the first 2 minutes, it has been Paul Roos who've had a surfeit of possession. And at this stage, Paarl boys are chasing shadows as we see Robert Basta being replaced by number 18, Degenau.
That's quite a big blow that for boys high. He has Mostert into a little bit of space. Oh, just about got his pass to Van der Westhuizen.
Well, there you see the danger of Jean Mostert. He takes it to the line. He's a tall, lanky fella. He got his hands through the tackle, popped it to Regan van der Westhuizen, and the Burley centre will be ruining that opportunity because he had an open run in front of him. Of course, Regan van der Westhuizen was man of the match last time round in the Premier Interschools clash down here against your alma mater, Grey High School.
Fine.
He's a strong ball carrier, is the man in the number 13
keep it up,
jersey.
Yeah, please, keep it up.
Again, it's a strong scrum this from Paul Roos, and well, they could get a penalty. No. Of course, at schools level, the referees are very, very careful at scrum time.
You're binding on his arm.
Scrums wheeling
You
or
got to bind longer.
players popping out.
Let's go again. Okay,
And isn't it great to see Rasta Rashavenga last week refereeing Super Rugby? This week, he's involved in a Premier Interschools clash down here in Cape Town. Such a wonderful advert for referees countrywide. Probably one of the quicker ones in world rugby.
He's pretty much the same, not speed-wise, as Jonathan Kaplan, who also always enjoyed doing schools rugby.
Stay up, 6.
That's a great scrum that from Paul Roos. They've won the penalty. A great, unified, brilliant effort from them.
Well, Paarl boys look shell-shocked at the moment. They need to find a mechanism to get themselves back into the game. As you saw the power of Robbie Rogers, JJ Kotze, and of course the massive frame of Henry Jacobs coming through.
Back under pressure.
Look at the pressure being put on the scrum. This loose head side. Well, De Wet Vulleta is getting a torrid time from Henry Jacobs, and hence the penalty going the way of the home side.
And of course, having an accomplished kicker like that man in picture, Cade Vulleta, is a great help to a team looking to stretch the lead. And this is one of those games, I think, too, where both teams will take the opportunities scoring-wise and not just throw the ball around with gay abandon. Well, it's another perfect strike that from Vulleta to add a penalty to his conversion.
That's why you got the penalty.
Well, it's such an easy strike from Cade Vulleta, and Paarl Roos are nearly going at a point a minute against their rivals, Paarl boys.
Kian Meaden's kick is absolutely perfect. See the first mistake there really from Paarl Roos rather. So here's the chance now for Paarl Boys High to hang on to some possession and threaten that goal line.
No, at the side four.
They just haven't had any ball in the last 5 minutes, so here's their opportunity to make the most of it. Albert's Meaden trying to find his way in field. It's good solid defense, this from Paarl Roos. Van Rensburg. Van Heerden trying to find his way through now. A little bit of space created here for Van Rensburg. And on the right wing is Colo Ace flying through. Here comes a try. The referee had a look to the assistant to see whether there was a foot in touch, but there wasn't one. And this is a great reply from the visitors.
Well, just a riposte that the men from Paarl would have wanted, and it's Gideon van Wyk who's got Paarl Boys on the scorecard. Some neat work down the blind side. Firstly, initially from Van Rensburg, and then look at the work done by the right winger Ace. The pop-up inside. Van Wyk ran a good line, and he's in for his 5-pointer. A little bit of a bobble, but he gathered it well, did the big number 8, and Paarl Boys are right back in this contest.
Isn't that a wonderful sight? Absolutely jam-packed the people are here at Marcotta. There were great expectations for this match as one of the Premier Interschools games. So far,
Going, eh?
living up to that reputation. This is going to be a really tough kick, this for Kian Meaden. Played representative rugby in the Grand Como week last year. Well, that's gone across the face of the uprights. But it's all about confidence too, and confidence would have been built through this ball carrying.
Well, Tian Pretorius just caught Paul watching, and his opposite man got on the outside. The flick back inside, and good finishing by Van Wyk.
And also good support. It was him that set the right wing Carlo Ace on the go and stayed with him. Beautiful catch that from Tian Pretorius. Again, it's time for the forwards to try and rumble up. Good work there from Brendan Fenter. He's just got that extra meter that makes sure his team are on the front foot.
That's a tackle!
So a little bit of seesawing in terms of possession. So it's back on the side of Paarl Roos now doing the ball carrying. You saw when they got down here last time, they made absolutely sure of their try to Pretorius. Fenter and Vulleta trying to find his way in field.
Tackle!
Vulleta. Again, Vulleta trying to find someone to carry that through. That time, Jared Cairns. Another quick man, Remy Engelbrecht, but unable to find his way through. Come across from the right wing.
captain. Where's the captain? There is no more holding now. The next one I'm reversing the
no
pin.
call from us.
No more now.
I'm sorry,
That's
sir.
the last. Warn the whole team, please.
I'm sorry, sir.
Warn the whole team.
Oh, good refereeing by Rasta Shavenga. He's an experienced international referee, and he's got schoolboys telling him how to ref the game. However, it was good work at the breakdown by Paarl boys, and they've won themselves a penalty and averted certain danger yet again. And it'll be left up to Kian Meaden to get them into that Paarl Roos half, which is duly obliged.
Yeah, tight angle that for the fly half.
At the breakdown, it was Van Wyk, the try scorer, who got himself into a favourable position, and he couldn't be moved off the ball and won the penalty for his side.
No numbers. Coming in and out.
This time to the back to Alberts. There's a good run around. They've got extra men here if they can use them. Good running here from Van Wyk. And a knock-on coming from Rees du Plessis. But looking extremely dangerous on the attack there were Paarl boys high.
Well, the wraparound in midfield created the extra man. They just needed to pick an inside shoulder, did Paarl boys. They were running somewhat laterally, and the hands of Trent Silverstone let him down at the crucial moment.
This is a big test as well for Paarl Roos in a defensive situation.
Fine.
They want to get out of their half of the field. Zander Botha with the put-in. His scrummer stood really well in front of him. And Mostert, try half, has done well there too. Just holding on to possession. Patience is an absolute virtue and so important in all levels of rugby, but sometimes lacking at school level. Mostert, straight down the middle to Rees du Plessis. Now, does he find an opportunity to counter-attack? Hasn't got enough men back to support him, so up it goes. Great take that from Matthew Cordy. He really is an abrasive customer. Over the top from Zander Botha. Lots of work here again for Rees du Plessis. Zander Botha. That's a great turnover that from Quinn Horn for Paarl boys high. Brilliant play that by the left winger.
No,
Boy,
enough
is
now.
this game being played at
Quiet
pace.
now. Enough now. Thank you.
This time the carry from Lowen Horn. Van Rensburg done well here to open up a little bit of space. Now here comes Coloace.
Advantage.
But not Coloace, it was Nathan Besaidenout on that occasion.
Last week, please.
Again, some good threatening play this from the visitors. And equally good now from Paarl versus Minkshering. Eventually gets pushed into touch.
Oh, great to see the passion of the old boys down in front of our commentary booth, but it's punch and counter punch at the moment from both these sides. And another strong run from the right winger
Don't lean forward.
in the form of Coloace. And after 20 minutes, this certainly is living up to all the hype that it was built up to be.
We spoke a little bit earlier about Adrian Alberts being the only Craven Week player from last year. I guess there's a Gareth Wright. You're quite close to that action. There must be a fair few here who are standing by
Stay on,
to
6.
play for Western Province in the Craven Week this year.
Absolutely, as Paarl Roos decide to go route one.
Falling off your feet first. Falling off
And
your feet.
of course, both these sides produce a large number of those Craven Week representatives.
Off and hand.
And you could see a number of these fellas playing down at the Craven Week between the 8th and the 14th of July, being hosted at the self-same Paarl boys. And that's a super kick from Mostert.
Great kick from him. That was the drive. They made sure they held on to the possession. They got the penalty, and they've carved off a huge amount of territory. Just talking about Cravenweek as well, what is interesting is that since 1964, when Cravenweek started, 75% of all Western Province representatives have come from 3 schools. These two plus Paarl Gymnasium, which is quite remarkable if one considers just how consistent these 3 schools have been over the years in producing some great rugby players.
6 over the 15, offside.
And this time it is Luan Horn who's been penalised for moving over the 15-metre line and for offside play. Now, will Volata whack it into the corner, or will they pursue with the 3 that are on offer?
They've got to kick at goal, Gareth. I think that's really where this game is at the moment, and they've got an ace goal kicker. There's no point in not taking points that are on offer.
They want to build a lead to Paarl Roos, as we see the infringement from Horn, just infringing in an offside position over the 15. And if they build this lead, they'll want Paarl boys, of course, to chase the game. And that'll play in exactly the fashion that Paarl Roos would have wanted it to play out in.
He's had such a good season, has Cade Volata. Great accuracy with a very easy kicking style of his.
Kevin, what you'll appreciate about Volata is he gets his left arm up nice and high, that allows him to kick through the ball.
Well, you can hear the thump when he kicks it, but this time it's not over, so it'll be a 22-metre dropout.
You know what I mean? You're over the 15 while
showing he's perfectly human as well.
That's your second penalty, eh?
So Kieran Meaden is actually, at fly half, has done pretty well with his kickoffs. Sadly for his team, there have been a couple of them. This time deciding to go deep onto his opposite number. Here he is, Johan Mostert. The objective, hold him up off the deck and win the scrum. Well, Mostert has done well.
Out. Yeah.
A number of penalties going the way of Paarl Roos at the moment.
And it's again at the breakdown where Paarl boys are not rolling away. Well, look at that, 4 penalties conceded by the visitors to the solitary one from the home side, as Volata will
kick a goal.
Kick a goal. Well,
Yeah.
it's just short of 50-odd meters. And Venter threw an outrageous dummy that wasn't bought by Cullen van der Merwe. However, van der Merwe didn't roll out of the breakdown quick enough, and hence the penalty going the way of the home side.
I'm so looking forward to seeing this kick. I still believe that he's such a good timer of the ball. There's no wind to speak of here. Can he get that distance? He obviously believes he can. And of course that would push the lead up to 8 points, which is always a magic number because it means the opposition have got to score at least twice to catch them. "50 meters. Can he get that distance? Yep, what a kick.
Well, what a strike from Volata. It just energizes his side, and it'll send a clear warning sign out to the visitors, Paarl boys, that they infringe at their peril, as Paarl Roos edge out into an 8-point lead by 13-8 after 25 minutes.
Well, the possession stat is the one really you need to watch, because Paarl Roos are dominating that area, not territory so much. And the one thing that is they're making the most of their opportunities, because they have spent a fair bit of time in their own half of the field. This is good running, lovely running, and a beautiful little setup there now. Now the chip kick from Volata and to his opposite number, Du Plessis. Now here's pace if you want to see it. That's good play from Du Plessis. Made sure that he kept the momentum going with the pass.
Tackle now!
Last time, Paarl Boys High came back very quickly with a try after they'd conceded one.
Eddie, just talk to him there, please.
Can they do the same again? They've got some numbers here. And have they got enough pace now? This is what the big question is. Carried up by Bester, and now is there an opportunity to get through? Albert's tries, supported by Van Heerden. Man caught in possession is Nathan Besaidenout. He won't be too troubled by that. They've just got to hold on to the possession. Can they find a way through?
Still playing advantage for side.
Now Kotza. Van Rensburg. Now they got numbers out wide. Oh, couldn't get it through the hands. 8 phases they've taken it through. Well, Gareth, this might be question time here too. With this penalty, what did Paarl Boys High do?
Well, a slap bang in front, so you'd expect Kian Meaden to cancel those 3 points out. Well, quite interesting there. Referee Rasta Rashavenga having a chat to the support staff of Paarl Boys, saying enough is enough. He's copped a whack of abuse by some of the masters in charge on the far side, and he will have no more of that.
Well, this should be a mere tap over for Kian Meaden. Well, somehow or other, they're staying in touch. Paarl Boys High, even if it is by the skin of their teeth. Now Volater wants his players to stay behind the ball. The last thing you need is to be in front of the kicker. Another perfect kick in as well. Good work from Alberts, setting up Estienne van Rensburg. It's not a bad kick, and brilliantly taken out of the air. It's wonderful play. Boys High are not going to take this lying down. They're going to continually look for opportunities. Now, here's a chance for Quinn Horn, held up by Lowenhorn.
Move!
Still, they continue to get enough possession to be a threat. Do Paarl Boys High. Kotza. Or rather, Van der Merwe. No apologies for the Corpus. Well, little knock on there, so Paarl Boys can get themselves back into this game. We'll say back into the game, back into the possession game, that is.
Well, because Paarl Roos have got such a enormous pack, Gavin, you want to spin it through the hands, use some decoy runners, use the width of the field, get them into the 15-meter line, get your pack working the same way that it means Paarl Roos will have to fold on defense. At the moment, they're playing between the 250s of Paarl Boys. If they can get into that 5-meter area, it's going to pay dividends, because the likes of Kotza, Jacobs, Minchering, they're big fellows carrying a lot of beef, and at some stage, if you keep running, you're going to run out of puff if you're in excess of 100 kilograms.
Well, we did mention that it's pretty muggy too, so the boys will be working up a fair sweat.
Bind!
Boys, pupils, should be learners, shouldn't it? Buerta, Mostert into a bit of space. In the pass was maybe a little bit too rough at Regan van der Westhuizen.
Regan van der Westhuizen has limited opportunities in the back line, and again Mostert taking it to the line, stepped off his left foot and then threw a chicken wing pass to his centre mate. In fairness, a really difficult pass to contend with, It's a turnover of possession. The Paarl boys need to conjure up something here. They've been under enormous pressure at scrum time. They need to hook it and get it away.
Alfred Bake quickly then with the ball. Now the pass outside and inside comes Quinn Horn. Getting some good solid defensive work from Paarl Roos. As breakdown points are being fiercely contested.
Well, 3.5 minutes to the break at half-time. As we see Matthew Cordy doing some yeoman work at the breakdown and winning the turnover for his side. The half-time chat will be interesting.
Crouch.
Handling errors, 4 from Paarl boys
Fine.
to the 3 of Paarl Roos. Paarl
Set.
boys just need to hang on to possession. We saw that possession stat at 63 to 37 in favour of the home side. And I think that'll form a large basis of their chat
No more gaps. Open the gap,
at the
please.
half-time break.
Next one's a free kick.
Denying opposition
If you close the gap,
the
free kick.
use of the ball at school level is
Crouch.
often a very, very useful tactic, of course.
Fine.
What you do with it too. Well, you saw 7 handling errors. You might say, well, that's quite a lot. But if you take into account the number of balls that have been carried today by both teams. Van der Westhuizen to a little bit of space. He's done well. Now Venter. Buerta. Oh, that's a good pass and a good take as well from Hanu Jacobs. 3 tries last week, looking for another. Now through the hands quickly, Kotza. Well, despite the error, there's a threatening look about this Paarl Roos side.
Well, Kotza just held it up long enough for Volata to run a line. But unfortunately for the captain, JJ Kotza, his line was too lateral. And he gave man and ball at the same time.
Crouch. Bind.
Now again,
Set.
Paarl boys' high scrum could be under pressure here. As you said, Gareth, the important thing is to get the ball out as quickly as possible while you're on the retreat at scrum time.
You remember in 2015, Japan had a wonderful tactic, a quick hook straight to the number 8 in that World Cup game against South Africa, and away they went. Paarl boys need to exercise something similar to that, because at the moment they are under enormous pressure at scrum time.
Set. Stay on, 7.
Van Rensburg with the kick up to the 10-meter line.
4 man, as jy kan, 4 man.
So Paarl Roos now. That's very good play by them. Just carrying it up those vital few meters initially, keeping everybody on the front foot.
Move, pillar.
And we've said before that when they get into the strike zone, they strike. Vital now as we head into half-time in a couple of seconds' time that Paarl boys do not concede more points. Strong work there from Jared Cairns.
Enough.
Well, penalty again going the way of Paarl Roos. And it's again Luan Horn who's been penalised at the breakdown. You just wonder how long this will continue before the referee goes to his pocket. And surely on the stroke of half-time, JJ Kotza will instruct his ace goal kicker, Cade Volata, to take the 3 on offer. Horn again offside. And it's a relatively simple opportunity in front of the uprights that will take Paarl Roos into an 8-point lead if Volata can guide this between the uprights.
Yes, after.
You mentioned yellow cards just now, or cards full stop. One hopes that it doesn't get to that because it's been such a good contest with 15 against 15. Volata. Another great goal kick from the fullback, and that will be half-time then.
5,
It's
captain.
been an enthralling first half. It really has been.
There's
Some
too many
great rugby
offsides at the
from
breakdown.
both
First
sides.
collect-
And that team there in picture. Paarl leading at half-time here at the Makata Stadium by 16 points to 8.